Chapter 2. A Nightmare and a Mysterious Savior. Passers-by heard her cries for help, but all remained indifferent, like fleeting shadows hurrying past, not daring to glance back at her, let alone offer aid. Their apathy was colder and crueler than the hand gripping her tightly. "Don't move or scream, or I'll slit your throat." The burly man's voice rasped, harsh and guttural, like a demon growling in her ear, sending an icy chill deep into her bones. On Tuyet's face paled, drained of blood. Her voice trembled, faltering with fear. "What do you want? I can give you money. Please don't do anything rash." "Speak again, and I'll deal with you. Come with me, now." His voice grew hoarser, more brutish, each word lashing her soul like a whip, plunging her into a chasm of terror. He doesn't even want money? The thought flashed through On Tuyet's mind, bringing a fear far greater than robbery. She vaguely sensed something more sinister. Seizing a moment when the man glanced around distractedly, a fragile thread of hope emerged. With her last ounce of strength, she twisted, delivering a sharp kick to his groin. "Arg!" The man's agonized scream tore through the night. On Tuyet broke free instantly, without hesitation, sprinting at full speed like a moth drawn to the darkness, darting across the road. Screech! The piercing sound of brakes sliced through the air, grating her ears. A car halted just half a meter from her, nearly crushing her last shred of hope. The blinding headlights illuminated her right cheek, exposing the ghastly scar she had tried to conceal. On Tuyet stood frozen in terror, staring at the man in the car, then turning to see the thug charging toward her, his eyes blazing with rage, ready to consume her. Kanta's deep gaze pierced through the car window, studying her, a look both foreign and strangely familiar, tightening her chest. In that moment, On Tuyet felt as if she'd grasped a lifeline in the cruel sea of life. She frantically pounded on his car window, her weak taps filled with desperation. "Help me, please, someone's trying to take me." Tears mingled with rain, salty and cold, streaming down her face like rivers of shame and fear. Her long white dress was soaked, her disheveled hair clinging to her pale face. The scar on her cheek, under the dim streetlights, looked even more horrific, like a cursed mark etched into her flesh. Kanta frowned at her, his expression unclear, disgust or pity. Seeing no trace of disdain in his eyes, a faint flicker of hope, like a candle in the wind, sparked in On Tuyet's heart. She pressed her face to the window, tapping lightly, a hopeless plea. Her large, round eyes blinked pitifully at him, brimming with helplessness and despair, like a wounded animal seeking shelter. In that instant, a distant memory flooded Kanta's mind, like an old reel of film. He recalled a rainy day 15 years ago, crouching by the roadside, crying in the rain, when a little girl passed by, holding out her hand to shield him, offering a fleeting warmth. Without hesitation, as if by instinct, Kanta swiftly opened the car door, an unexpected act of salvation. "Get in." On Tuyet scrambled into the passenger seat, slamming the door shut with trembling hands. The torrential rain was sealed outside, but the storm in her heart still raged. Still shaken, she glanced out the window, seeing the thug who attacked her glaring ferociously, as if ready to tear her apart. She turned back, still gripped by terror, her breaths coming in short gasps. Taking a deep breath, she struggled to calm her chaotic emotions. When she finally steadied herself, she turned to the kind driver, only to be stunned. He was strikingly handsome, a surreal beauty amidst the chaos. His face was like a finely crafted work of art, as if sculpted by divine hands, so beautiful it could make the heavens jealous. Yet his expression was devoid of warmth, his deep eyes radiating a coldness that made her shiver, an aloof, distant chill. "Thank you for saving me," On Tuyet stammered, her words catching in her throat from nervousness. Looking at the icy man before her, she feared he might be connected to the thug. Did I just board a pirate ship? A new wave of dread surged within her. The man produced a clean handkerchief from somewhere, a small gesture brimming with quiet care, and said softly, "Wipe the water off your face." On Tuyet stared at him, a warm current soothing her wounds. She lowered her guard, took the handkerchief, and murmured a faint thank you. Thinking of the horrific scar on her face, one she'd long hidden, she quickly pulled her hair to cover it, a final reflex of self-protection. On Tuyet. Kanta's thin lips moved, his low, magnetic voice resonating like a cold breeze across her soul. Hearing him say her name, On Tuyet stared at the stranger in shock, her heart pounding with fear. How does he know me? Who is he? Is he part of some plot? As her mind raced with possibilities, fear and suspicion piling up, Kanta glanced at her coldly, cutting through her chaotic thoughts. "I'll take you home." "Home? My home?" On Tuyet mumbled, dazed, wondering if that place could still be called a home. Kanta nodded, his gesture laden with unspoken meaning. A bitter smile crossed On Tuyet's face, tinged with anguish. She thought of the so-called family in that house, once her haven. The home without her parents had lost its original warmth, becoming an invisible cage. Her parents died in a car accident when she was 10, leaving a villa, an inheritance, and a failing company. After legal proceedings, her greedy uncle, Tunchi, took responsibility for raising her to secure the inheritance. The villa rightfully hers was claimed by him. She thought her cousin was the only trustworthy person in the family, a faint light in the dark, but it was merely a beautiful illusion before the nightmare began, a perfect trap. "What's wrong?" Kanta noticed her lost in painful memories. "Nothing. Thank you so much for tonight." On Tuyet looked at him with gratitude, her eyes holding both despair and a spark of hope, and said, "Sorry to trouble you, but please take me to Kai Street." Kanta nodded silently, his gaze still enigmatic. "Do you know me?" On Tuyet asked softly, wiping her soaked hair, her question laced with caution and worry. The car's atmosphere grew heavy, an oppressive silence settling in. Seeing his silence, On Tuyet said no more, her heart weighed down by thoughts. When the car stopped at the familiar street, On Tuyet mustered her courage, her voice trembling. "Can you tell me your name?" Kanta's dark eyes fixed on the scarred young woman before him, a fleeting glint of pity flashing like lightning before fading. He smiled gently, a smile full of mystery, and said, "We'll meet again." Back at the villa, On Tuyet saw her uncle and aunt laughing heartily in the living room, their cheerful voices like needles piercing her broken heart. She headed straight to her room, fleeing. Locking her door, a feeble shield against the cruel world, she heard Lam's harsh curses through the thin door, like venomous spells. That crazy girl, where did she run off to tonight? Going out without makeup to scare people. She's getting more shameless by the day. Doesn't even greet her elders. No manners at all. Just like her wretched mother. The suppressed grief and anger erupted like a tsunami, drowning her in sorrow. She collapsed onto the cold floor, sobbing silently, hot tears soaking the ground. Recalling the night's events, she touched her rough right cheek, physical pain merging with emotional torment. Tears flowed endlessly. Gya had taught her to use makeup to hide her flaws, restoring her confidence, giving her a glimmer of hope. Yet, the one who stripped her bare before everyone, plunging her into humiliation, was none other than her cousin. Why did she do it? What had On Tuyet done wrong? Why did she have to ensure On Tuyet could never hold her head high again, living in shame and disgrace? For years, after being crowned the campus beauty, countless girls envied her, but On Tuyet never imagined Gya was the most jealous, envious enough to ruin her life. It was her own foolishness and naivety. She trusted Kyai too much, believed in a false sisterly bond. Her family had treated her cruelly before, so how could she naively believe Kyai genuinely cared, teaching her makeup out of kindness? It was a perfectly set trap. It was all her cousin's scheme. Kyai, how cruel you are. Pain and hatred blazed in her heart. After the frenzy, she slowly calmed, though her heart still ached. She recalled the attack after leaving Delhi restaurant. The thug seemed to have been waiting at the club's entrance, like a demon stalking prey. After escaping, she nearly crashed into a car. In panic, she sought help from a stranger who, shockingly, knew her and said they'd meet again. On Tuyet was utterly confused, her mind reeling. She couldn't tell if these events were connected or just a cruel chain of coincidences pushing her to the brink of tragedy. This episode of our story concludes here. To follow the story from the flash wedding to sweet love, please visit the Sun Pink Audio channel to listen and support us.